This is 2416 Magee Road. Nice big lot. Huge driveway, gravel. Looks like there was some stuff from an old driveway as well that they put the gravel on top of. Decking is painted with Restore paint. It's a newer boards. I mean, not brand new, but not old. Looks in good shape. No complaints. This is a vinyl siding. Newer. I mean, the whole place looks like they basically flipped the place. So I think they were the ones who probably put on the coat of paint, but not the deck. Right off the bat, you come in, you're greeted with a staircase. There is a step up to a floated floor for this living room. So this was all, trying to level it out and make it into a square room or whatever. Whereas the dining room over here, let's go take a look at this door. Give you an idea of, see how the right-hand side is much bigger gap. So this flooring has a bit of a wonkiness that kind of goes like this, it's mostly just higher on this wall than it is kind of going back up on this side. It's just like it curves up to this area. And the, it's evident here on the floated area where you can see that it's level up top and then it's lower on this bottom left side than it is over here. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, kitchen, obviously redone. I personally just don't like this backsplash, and I don't even mind when people do a two-tone backsplash, where they have this separate one for the for your cooking in your oven, but I just don't like it. These are all basically panels that have a mesh on the back, and so you can kind of just see the seam right here, right here, right here, and it's just not my favorite. Other than that, though, I mean, they have a GE suite of appliances that are in new, good condition. The cabinets look fine. They didn't go for the cheapest cabinets by any means, but they, they're still basic. Nothing crazy, nothing super expensive or super cheap either. They have the stove clothes. The hookups for laundry are right here, so is convenient. You might want to soundproof this door a little bit more. Maybe not sure. They added can lights and ceiling fans to this little patio area. Again, all of this is freshly painted and it seems to be sitting very well. No complaints on the actual structure of the deck. Underneath there are joist hangers, and the posts all have concrete footers, which are the things that we're mostly looking for. This kind of circular area makes me think that maybe there was a pool here, like an above ground pool that they got rid of. And so that little wet kind of marshy sloped area is probably from that. But not 100% sure on that. And then this is that remnants of the old kind of driveway structure that has, been reclaimed more or less. We have Amana for the AC compressor. New, no complaints there. It's a cheaper brand, but not the cheapest. I mean, it is on the cheaper side for sure. But it's new and it's working. Feels very comfortable in here. Huge space in the living room here. All the windows look like they are double pane vinyl. I don't know if this was the crew that put them in. They're not like nice windows. They're all cheap, kind of like old windows. So it'd be weird if it was the people who are flipping this now who put them in. They have a lot of older stains on them. They were repainted by what I think this crew did. But you could put a huge section on here, tons of space. We're looking at at least 20 some odd feet long. This is they extended this duct up here. This is the old cold air return vent that they kind of just repurposed, and because they floated the floors, you can see the 2x4 framing they did for that. Going upstairs. It is considerably warmer up here. We've got this room, which has a little bit of that same kind of dip in the center of the floor. It's not too bad, but it kind of just follows the same. This is that same wall, and it goes all the way down, where it's a little bit higher getting to this point. So it makes me think that the front of the house is what's settled. And it's not as noticeable up here, but it does continue that trend is all I'm trying to say. I would feel it more as I'm walking every day on the first floor, and I probably would just kind of forget about it up here unless there was like, a marble on a desk or something. Speaking of older windows, we got some pulley system style wood framed windows here. Just in this closet, so I guess they did not redo all of them. Interesting. But yeah, good sized room. The ensuite. Okay, I would notice it in this room. I would be walking around here and I would feel the floor for sure. Nice double vanity though. In general, the tiling was done well. It looks like they used spacers everywhere. Attention to detail. I don't know why they used these really cheap fixtures whenever they were putting in a brand new bathroom, but choices were made. I like hex tile and I like penny tile. I don't know what they were thinking with where they put some of these black ones, but that's my own OCD tendencies coming through. Okay. A door stop. We have a tiny little closet. This is just a teeny little room. I mean, you could put an office or a crib in here, but even a twin is going to take up this whole wall. I mean, it's going to go, a twin probably goes over to that vent, if not slightly over the vent, and then stretches basically all the way to the end of the room. So there's really not much of a room for a bed. Not to mention, the ceiling is sloped up here. So like, I'm 5'3" and I can touch the ceiling with flat-footed. Also, again, with, noticing the weird little dips throughout, you can see this room also has a dip, but in the opposite direction as all the other ones. So the floor goes down just a little bit lower than this baseboard. That it looks level, actually. Other thing to note, everything in here is new. It's all drywall, so it looks like this place was totally stripped down to the studs. And new electrical, so rewired, which is great, but that is why some of the baseboards are newer and plumb and the floors aren't. Okay. Kind of a tight full bath. Not much you can do about this. This is a chimney, so it's got to be there. You got to fit in the tub and all the tiling around. Again, I'm 5'3". When I fully stretch my hand up, I can touch the ceiling. I can't quite put it flat. That's with my feet being flat-footed. So like when I stand in here, there's only like maybe 6 inches, something like that, before this rain shower comes into play. You can raise it up, but it's not even mounted all the way. So like kind of shoddily thrown together with their fixtures at the end. Okay. Then we have a normal sized bedroom with wavy floors. My goodness. Comes up on this side, dips down to here, but then it goes back up to this wall. So it just dips right in the middle. But in here, you know, if you're putting the bed kind of into this nook, you could put a queen easily in there, not a king, but a queen's gonna go stretch out most of the way in between that nook. Whereas if you come off of this wall, you could put a king in here, but it's gonna be really tight and you're not gonna put much other furniture in here. So it would feel a lot better with a queen and then maybe a nightstand and a nightstand, like a dresser of drawers or something like that. And then we have this room, a nice big room, good windows. You know, all of the closets are kind of makeshift in here, thrown in. And this one was built out to give you this little extra triangle of space so that it wasn't just flush right here. But the you could fit bunk beds, or you could fit a queen. Putting a king off of this wall, maybe, if that was a priority. And then you would be putting like drawers over here maybe and something over here. But then you're just walking around this bed, kind of taking up most of the space. I do like the windows and the light. I didn't really look at the trees before earlier. There was one tree that would looked like it was having some rot. Part of it fell, but in general, the trees look healthy. It's just that one, and it's not super tall. So not the end of the world. That was that little bedroom. So we have 1, 2, 3, you know, decent sized rooms and one teeny tiny room right here on the second floor, with an ensuite in the biggest bedroom and a shared bathroom between the other 3. Now let's go down to the basement. It's very narrow. There's this shelf right here. And just very thin angled steps that don't feel great. Okay, that was a big step. Oh, that was a redone step. Okay, let's see what we got going on down here. Hey. Wow. Okay, so we have a stone foundation. There was some amount of parge coating done at some point. One thing that is pretty odd, we have this huge locust tree. That is on top of the stone foundation. We have another one right here. A lot of times we see locust supports kind of just holding up the house, but there are massive trees that are acting as our floor joists, which explains why the floor is wonky. Weird. And then we have regular joists over here. And then it goes back to tree. Huh. Okay. Very interesting construction. I don't know what to think about it. I will say that on this parge coating, we're definitely seeing a lot of moisture come through. It is a stone foundation. We expect to see moisture to like breathe basically through these stones. Like this is what it looks like without any sort of parge coating on at all. And you have these big cracks and gaps. And you know, that's just how it was built. It's not a big deal. And if you want this to be more dry, you put a parge coating, you put dry lock on, which at some point they did do that, but they haven't done it or redone it in, you know, at least 20 years, if not more. The things that I am not sure about, and it's a little bit of an optical illusion. No, it's not. Okay, so this wall is not very plumb. It pushes back up this way, so towards the tree. And so what I was saying was an optical illusion is you have this circular kind of arc on the tree itself, and everything is going to support that area. They did fill it in with a fibrous cement in the gaps, kind of where there in newer construction would be a sill plate. The tree acts as a sill plate in this case, so I kind of, I mean, very weird. But that not being said, let's get to the point of this has a little bit of almost like a bow kind of going this way, and then it levels out by the bottom where it becomes plumb again. And I think that is kind of by design because of the tree. You are getting that stack closer to the base of the tree rather than the rounded part. And then they filled it in with the fibrous cement kind of going up there. But that was a much, much, much later thing. That was done like 10 years ago or something. It's just weird, though. And then they put up these furring strips, I assume, so that they could finish off kind of the basement, and then just decided against it. And I recommend not finishing it for sure. They did put in these masonry bolts, so they aren't going anywhere. And they were planning on putting electric on this wall. They have one outlet, and they were going to tie in this other one, because I do think they were going to finish this at one point. But there would be a lot of waterproofing that should be done before putting any sort of finishing boards in here. Very interesting. Okay. The floor is all relatively new. I mean, compared to the construction of this home, it's very new, because when this was built, this would have been a dirt floor, and so none of this flooring is structurally important, but someone went over and skim coated the thing so that it was fairly level. Again, I think they were trying to finish this basement, and they jumped this up a tiny bit, which is probably why this beam was replaced with a pin post. I don't know if it needs more than that pin post, and I don't know if they put a footer in there. It does look like they dug out a tiny bit around that pin post. I just don't like it, and I would want it to be replaced with a regular post at some point rather than its temporary post. But it does look like, you know, the floor is in good shape. I don't have any complaints with that. Furnace is also Amana. Probably was redone when they put in that AC when they were flipping the house. Going to this section of the home. This is underneath that floated floor section of the living room. And, you know, we can see the main structural support that it was sitting on this stone foundation. For some reason, this was busted out like a window, kind of. I don't know if there was ducts going through there, and then when they put in this new furnace, they redid the ducts. But a lot of these joists look like they were cut out to sit on the stone, and now they're not sitting on anything, which is probably fine because they're still attached to the main support, and everything's still, that support is sitting on this wall, and probably attached to these trees at some point over here. That's a little harder to see. I don't feel like anything's moving. I would still want like a structural engineer just to look at the place because this is totally new to me as the way was built. It's just unique. There are remnants of old knob and tube, so that was all taken out. It was cut. It is to code to leave the remnants there so that you know where knob and tube was present. Yeah, see, that's where that tree was. So odd. They have all these other little pin posts in this little room. This is underneath the kitchen. And I don't love all these pin posts. None of them have footers. You can tell that they didn't dig out and put anything in, but they are trying to support the existing wood that was here. Another old tree. And some of these posts are wide, but not very thick. Just there's a lot of water damage. The way that this is connected is super bizarre. It doesn't even look like it was. It goes all the way through, doesn't it? It does. Oh, it's sitting. Okay. So we have this tree, then we have a 2x10, and then we have cutouts on the 2x10 that these, 4x6s, or some of them are 2x4s, and some of them are, 2x. Oh no, that's just a 6x6. Very weird. So odd sizing, but then they're kind of notched to sit on each other, which is fine. You just want to make sure that this board doesn't get any rot. And since there is a lot of water damage, just kind of throughout on these beams, I would definitely want a pest inspection. I would want, a structural engineer, and I would want to make sure that this wood is in okay shape. My guess is that a handful of these are probably needing to have sistered at least 2x10s attached to them. I don't think that any of them are rotted out so bad that they need to be replaced. But also we need to figure out where the moisture is getting on these. Like, was that something that the kitchen was just leaking or something and it was falling through, or this is where the bathroom is? This is actually, no, this is where the laundry room is. And ultimately this one goes to the bathroom upstairs. And this is the new sewer line that was dug out. Okay. And then this concrete here is in pretty meh shape. I don't know why. Oh. There was a door here. That explains the weird masonry on the outside. But like all of this concrete that's sprawling, usually when that happens, there's moisture intrusion and it's, chipping away. But like, this is all the exterior wall. Maybe this isn't an addition. This is way too old. Again, very confusing. Maybe this was the original home because this looks like the oldest part of the house. I don't know. I'm not sure. But this all is formed concrete, which doesn't make sense. It can't be the oldest part of the home. And that's all the original stone. I don't know. So there's some weird disconnects on the construction and timelines of this place. But all in all, I'm not sure what I think about it. Because a lot of the things are in good shape and a lot of the things are just weird. So this is one where an inspector is absolutely necessary, and probably a couple different specialties. Hot water tank is venting through this chimney, which is showing lots of deterioration and moisture. The hot water tank is backdrafting and it's definitely rusting. And this is like a new one, 2023, 40 gallon. 40 gallons way too small for this. This was just a cheap put in to make things work. But like I said, electrical was all redone. We have all Romex coming out of the box. We have a 200 amp box, fully rewired. There's no more room to grow on here, so if you needed to do anything, you would have to do like a sub panel. Likely you just don't need to because it's already big, but you might need to re-divvy up some of those things. Yeah, I would say my overall thoughts on the place are that it's very interesting, and it's worth investigating if everything upstairs is really everything else you're looking for, if that makes sense. And it's a very nice big yard, but on kind of not a busy road, but a busier road. So all that should be taken into consideration as well. Oh, and roof is new, architectural asphalt shingles. The flashing look good. The gutters look fine. So in that regard, you know, a lot of the mechanicals that were redone, some of the things they picked were on the cheaper side, you know, like Amana, and just like the hot water tank. Rheem's a good brand, but they went for a small size and they didn't power vent. So they cheaped out on a couple things there. But like, in general, the quality of the workmanship of the installation all looks good. So I at least feel good about that. And it looks like this is somebody who knows budgets when they're doing flips. So that's good. And hopefully it means that they are understanding of what else needs to be done here. Anyways, that is whatever this place is. I forgot the address. Maple? Something like that? Yeah,